in your PJ's Google Sites?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I can see it.
Perfect, perfect.
I can see.
Right, the first thing we want to do is just kind of briefly look at today's agenda. We're going to first create a public folder. I always begin with creating a folder before beginning my site because that folder will have the permissions for public sharing, and I will not have to go back and change permissions for every single document. So if we begin with creating our folder first, everything we share on our site will be public. We will begin creating or editing our current Google site. We're going to talk about the inserts, the pages, and the themes menu on the left-hand side. We will explore inserting different layouts and working within those layouts by dragging and dropping them. Look at inserting YouTube videos, text, images, and files. Talk about the difference between embedding and hyperlinking content. And finally, we will publish and share our site. So if I could get you guys to go to google.com, sign in to your PGS Google account, go to your waffle, select Drive. All right, guys, now once we're in Google Drive, please go over to the new with the plus sign on the left-hand side. And Google Drive basically drives all of your Google apps. From that new plus sign, you can create everything from new folders, uploads, documents, sheets.
I'm sorry. I can't do it with you.
I don't know where the plus sign is. I'm sorry. I'm in my account. I see where it says all of the classroom docs and sheets and all that. Where is the plus sign?
The Drive. In your waffle, select Drive, please.
Okay, thank you.
And once you're in Drive, you should see the plus sign on the left-hand side just below the word Drive.
Got it.
We're going to select Folder, and we're going to name our folder the name of our site. So whatever you're choosing to name your site, name your folder the same name. Then select Create. And once you've created your folder, if you wanted to right-click it and change the color or rename it, you could do so from there. And right-click that folder we just created, and we're going to actually change the viewing and sharing permissions. Now, when you opened up the share, the first thing that you see is an option to share with individuals via email. Some of you guys have personal accounts and you have Google PGS accounts. And when you log into either one, you may want to have access to whatever project you're working on.
You think?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm in the same boat, I promise. I have my ITRT account and I have my PGS account. So whenever I create a project that I know I'm going to work a lot on, I'm going to share that project with both of my accounts. So when I log into Drive, it's going to be accessible to me regardless of which account I'm signed into. So if you wanted to share your folder personally to edit with your other account, you could do so there. But right now we're going to change the link. So right at the top in the right-hand corner, select the link option. And the first thing you're going to see, it's going to be shared with anyone in the county. We want to click on the drop-down menu. And we're going to change that to public to anyone on the web. And we're changing it to public anyone on the web because we want anyone to view the documents or complete the forms or see the images that we have on our website. When they open our website, we don't want them to have blanks that say you need permission to view. So select public on the web. And then right below public on the web, you're going to see anyone, and change that and make sure it's view only. Make sure anyone can see. Yes, once you've selected that radio, the next window should allow you to preview your options. Make sure that what we've just selected says anyone on the internet can find and view. If you see that, go ahead and select done.
Okay, yeah, I do see that. All right.
And right now, guys, we have created our folder. We've changed our permissions. Let's right-click that folder one more time, and we want to get a shareable link. And when you select shareable link, you should see that slide go to green, and you have a URL below that.
Okay, I see that.
Perfect. So that is our shareable folder. Anything that we drag and drop into this folder will be visible to anyone on the web. So anything that we share on our website from this folder, we do not have to worry about any type of sharing permissions or blocking students from accessing content on our website. All right, guys, so we have our folder. Perfect. Now, some of you have already started a site. I don't want you to have to go back and do double work. So if you have started a site, go ahead and open the site that you're working on. For the rest of us, right there in the left-hand corner of our drive, the new plus sign, we're going to select the new, more, and we're going to create a new site. Now, once you start working on your site, Drive is the best way to find any of your content. If you are unable to locate your site, go to your Drive, and your site should be somewhere listed in your Drive. If you're a typer and you wanted to type in sites.google.com, that will take you to the sites page as well. And once you're in Drive, if you have a lot of content in your Drive, you can search Drive by choosing the type of file that you're searching for. So in your Drive search, if you drop that down, you can select sites, forms, docs, all, and sort your search from there. All right, so we should have our site open. Is there anyone who is having difficulty opening their site?
I just wanted to clarify, make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be. So I've opened it up and it says Untitled site. Is that where I'm supposed to be?
Yes, sir. That's perfect.
Your page title is at the top, like header?
That's exactly where we are. Beautiful match.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, guys. So we have our brand new site, or the site we're editing in. In the top left-hand corner beside the site's icon, it probably says something like Untitled Site. We want to take our cursor, click on that field, and name our site. So go ahead and click on the Untitled Site in that top left-hand corner and type the title of your site.
You need to go down on it.
I don't understand where to do that.
The home page of our site. When we think of the home page, that's the landing page. Everything else will come from the home page. Think about your school website. You have your home page and then each subpage that follows. So this is the first thing that all viewers are going to see. So up in the banner, you have a text box. Some of you may have already named your site. If you have not, click in that text box and create a title for your entire site. This is your home page. This is what everyone will see. If you wanted to start with Mr. or Mrs., classroom or course number. And as you type, you're going to see a text box appear above that. By default,
Yay.
you're going to have a title size font. But if you drop down, you can see you have about 5 options to choose from. Normal text being the smallest, small being the smallest, and title being the largest. If your title is too large, you may prefer the heading size font. You have the option to bold, italicize, to center a line to the left or right. And you can even add a hyperlink here.
I'm so sorry. I just accidentally clicked on something and got out of this site. I don't even know how to get back.
Sure you do. Go to Drive,
Okay.
and you should see the site listed in your
I got
Drive. Perfect.
Thank you.
No, I knew you know how to get there. I had no question. All right, guys. So we have given our site a name. We've given our homepage a title.
I got,
At the bottom of the banner, we have an option to change our image. Let's drop down that menu. We can upload an image from our device, or we can select an image. Let's select an image, please. You have the option of choosing stock photos from the gallery. If you had an image on the web that you wanted to include a URL to, or if you wanted to search, Google, and the images provided by Google through the search, you do not have any fear of copyright violations. They're all free images to use. You can go to your album if you use that feature, or you can go to Google Drive. And this is where, when we go to Drive, that folder we've created, that's the only folder we're going to really use to put anything on our site. So when we go to Drive, that's the folder we would go to. For our purposes today, please choose one of the images from Gallery and select.
Laura, I have a question, and I don't know if we're going to get to that, but can we change the actual font, the actual lettering?
You have the option when we go into themes
Okay.
to select different fonts. Yes, ma'am. Now, right beside our image, we have the ability to change our header type. The header type is how the image and our title will be displayed on our home page. So you can click on header type and select cover, large banner, title only, and look at the different views. 90% of the time, I go with banner. And you have little stars here. If your image was too dark and it obstructed the view of your title, it will automatically lighten your image. If you do not like the lightened image, you can click on these stars and it will revert your image back to the darker of the two. And if you decide that, no, I kind of like the lighter image better, you can click on the stars and it will take it back to the readability adjustment. All right, guys, so we have our title. Now, I just had a question about font. Somehow or another, I knew that would be the second thing to come up, so that's going to be the next thing we're going to do on our hands-on task. We're going to look at the theme menu over on the right-hand side of our screen. And from our theme menu, we're going to change the color theme of our website. We're going to change our font style, and then we're going to look at some of the insert menu and quick tool options before we start inserting text and images into our site. So over on the right-hand side, click on Themes. And below Themes, you're going to have tiles. These tiles kind of give you a quick glimpse of what your home page would look like with that particular theme style. Below the style, you have color options that kind of match that theme style. If you want a different color option, you can click on the paint bucket. The paint bucket will take you out into the spectrum where you can hover and click to change the color options on your site. Font style, you can drop that menu down. You'll have 3 options with that particular theme. And I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes to go through and click on those different theme styles, play with your color options, look at your font, and as you change it, look at the difference it made on your home page. Now, I have had some say that the new themes limit some of your creativity as far as font style, size, and appearance of your site. But remember, you can always include your own personal images. So parts of your website, if you wanted your background to be pictures of your class, students doing activities, or the activities themselves, you can always personalize with images in your background and creating galleries. You'll find that it really doesn't limit your creativity. It just sort of keeps it a little neater and more organized. All right, so finish up, select a theme, and remember your site is never static. It's always fluid. It can always be changed. It's a work in progress. So if you don't like this particular theme, you can change it later. Click on the Insert menu for me, please. And I just want to look at the different inserts. We're not going to insert anything at the moment. We're just going to look at the different inserts. At the top, we have the main inserts that are typically used from text box to images, items from Drive, or embedding content on our site. When we embed content, we actually take the website, the form, the document, and we place a live copy, not really even a copy, a live link to that content. So if I embedded my school's website, visitors could actually go in using my website and manipulate the school website because it was embedded within my website. When you embed YouTube videos on your website, students are not redirected to YouTube to view the video. They can view the video directly from the page on your site. So that would limit any need to go outside, see ads, or have other content that's enticing. So embedding puts the content directly into your site. A hyperlink actually allows you to click on that link and it takes you to the outside source. So embed, the content is in your site. A hyperlink takes you outside of your site to a second source. We have a few different layouts. These can be changed. We're not just limited to that. We have a lot of text, paragraphs of content, and we did not want our readers to have to scroll and scroll. We could collapse text boxes, and they would have to click to read more. A table of contents, if we choose that option last, it'll actually take our sections and condense it at the top, so readers and visitors would have a shortcut to each section of our site on one page. The image carousel, if you had more than one image and you want, and a button is basically a hyperlink. Dividers separate our sections. We can embed our YouTube videos directly from there. We can embed our calendars. We can embed a map if we wanted to show location, or if I was doing a project about a specific location, I could put that point on the map and have that embedded on a particular page. And of course, anything from Drive can be embedded on our site. Now, just below our heading, take your mouse and double click for me. How many of you had a quick tool launcher come up?
Yep.
Perfect. So typically I'm not trying to go over to insert and hunt for what I want to do because those 4 main inserts are available on my quick tool launcher. Anywhere that I'm working on my site, if I double click, immediately I have the option to basically embed or do anything I would like to do. So that's our insert. Are you guys ready to do some inserting?
Yes.
Perfect.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What is maybe you can speak to the advantage of using the embedding versus the hyperlink?
Absolutely. YouTube is my biggest example I guess I could provide. If I wanted students to view a specific YouTube video, and my website is set up to where project page 1, students would click on project page 1. That's a page I've created on my site. At the top, I have the directions. And then below the directions, I have all of my resources and content I want available for my students to do the project, which includes, let's say, 3 YouTube videos. I know that if I send my students out to YouTube, they may or may not watch those 3 videos, but they'll probably find something else really interesting to watch. So having those YouTube videos embedded directly on my page allows them to click play and watch the YouTube video from my page without ever having to leave that one page. So it takes the content and puts it directly on your page. YouTube is my favorite example. If I have a form and I do not want them to have to click on a link and go to the folder, you can just type directly in the form on the site. So it gives you the content right there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right, now let's go over to the insert because we're going to grab a layout. And just for today's session, I want us all to work in the same layout just to make it easier. Grab that first layout. It has an image, a title box, and then a text box below it. And now that insert is below our title. And right there, we are able to click on the plus sign that houses the image. And you see you have the option to upload, select an image, choose from Drive. We're going to actually embed a YouTube video here. Everybody select YouTube. Once you've selected your YouTube video, it has now been embedded in your site. Anyone who is viewing your site will be able to click play and view your video directly from your website.
So
Now,
does it automatically embed, or do you have to make it embed? I know the difference between hyperlink and embed, but when you put it in there, when I put it in there, I have the picture and I have the little link that, you know, you could just play it. So that's an embedding, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And does it automatically do that, or you have to choose the embed little image there?
Just
I
click
don't know
on
how
it,
I did
Tracy.
it, but I did it.
When you selected the YouTube option from the image,
Yeah,
that automatically embedded your YouTube video. Yes, ma'am.
I thought so. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
And Tracy and anyone else who has that same question, at the top, this toolbar, and we will get to this, beside the undo, redo arrows, you have an image of a laptop and then some type of mobile device. If you select that, you'll be able to preview your site as a student or visitor. Video would play to visitors. That embedded video would play to visitors. Let me get a sip of coffee. My tongue has stopped working. So you can preview your site.
Okay.
And
How do you go back?
at the bottom, there's an X. All right, guys, let's play in those text boxes. Create a title for your video that we've just embedded and a little description.
Okay, there she is. Okay, to create a title.
And while you're working in your title and text box, your title and text boxes, take an opportunity to use the different styles of font. Play with alignment, center your title, left align the description text. Now, I have popped out of the presentation for just a moment because I want to show you how easy it is to maneuver and change your layout. All right, guys, so now we have our YouTube video. We've changed our title. We've added a little description, and we want to change things around a little bit. We decided we would like to have our title box on top of the YouTube video instead of the description. So if everybody could just look at my screen, or if you feel comfortable to do it on your own, click on the text box. Make sure that only the text box is highlighted, not the text and the description. And you're going to get the crosshairs as you hover, click, and drag your title on top of your YouTube video. As you move your title across, pay attention to the blue bar that appears. That tells you where you're placing your title. So now our title is on top of our YouTube video.
Can you do that one more time, Laura?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Click on the box you'd like to move. Make sure the only box you've selected is the one you'd like to move.
Are you
Hover.
right-clicking or just click on it?
Just clicking one time, not right-clicking.
Okay.
So once your box is now highlighted in blue, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hover and you'll see your mouse turns from the arrow to the crosshair.
Yes.
Click, drag to your new location.
Oh, look at that.
Now, watch my screen one more time, please. I really don't like my text box there anymore. I prefer to have my text box as a section header, but I don't want to go insert new text box or section header. I just want to drag and drop the box I've just created. I'm going to do the same thing. Click on the box I would like to move. Make sure that I have the blue outline. Hover until I get the crosshair on my mouse. I'm going to click, drag up, and I should see the blue line now go across the entire screen of my site. I'm going to let it go, and it has created a brand new section that only houses the title box. I can click on my title box and resize it and edit the text inside.
If I'm correct, though, you can't change the size of the font. You can only change the style. It can be subheading or heading or title. Is that correct?
Correct. But when you change the style, the size is changed as well. They coincide. So if you select subheading is going to be a much smaller text than the title heading.
Thank you.
All right, guys, so we have looked at inserting layouts, embedding video or content. If I had PDFs in the folder I created initially, ready to share out, I could double click to get my launch tool. From my launch tool, I could go directly to Drive, access my public folder, and choose a document to embed directly into my site from my public folder I created. So
you can't do it from any file.
if you have changed the permission on the document, you can do it for any file. If I was a high school student and I had a Google account, as the teacher, I could change the permissions to where students would have to log into their Google PGS account in order to view the document or to complete the form. So sometimes my permissions would be different than the public. It would just be for my students. I may have a different folder or different shared settings for the students to access a particular document. But since this is a public site we're creating, I would make sure that anything I shared on it was shared publicly so visitors would not receive a message requiring permissions. So that was the point of creating that public folder. It's not really about the folder, it's more about the sharing permissions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, guys, any questions so far on inserting layouts?
Laura,
Yes, ma'am.
if I'm doing multiple videos in this page, if I've only got this one on here and I want to switch it to another layout?
Great question. Great question, Kim. You want a different layout. Now, I'm gonna suggest this too. When you have multiple videos on your page and we're embedding them, as the viewer, when I open this page, it's requiring lots of bandwidth to load every video that you've embedded on your page.
Okay.
So I would limit 4 videos per page just for bandwidth purposes. We don't want pages crashing and it's not worth going to the site if you can't view anything. So make sure that it's limited video. That's a great question. Yeah, so when you're embedding content, think about that page loading content. It's probably more beneficial to create a main page and then have sub-pages underneath it. So you're not overwhelming the viewer with the amount of content trying to open at one time.
Because I was trying to do the lunch doodles with Mo Willems on here for my library page.
Yes.
And he's got more than one. So,
So Kim, I don't know if you can still see my screen.
all right, I'm going back to it.
So my title may be Mo Williams at the top, and I could
Right.
have one of these selections here on the side that
Oh, wait.
already have more than one image. So Kim, over on the layouts, you have other options to where you can display more than one particular picture.
Right.
And even if you've selected just 3, remember we can pick up and drag and drop
Okay.
just like that, and it will re-edit, and we might have to reshape but you do have the ability to drag and drop. But I would just choose a particular layout that fit the number of videos I wanted to display per row.
Okay, so if it's already in the one, I mean, so I should just redo it, or is there a way of transferring it to that particular layout?
Yeah, no, just add a layout and then drag and drop it to where you want it. You don't have to redo it, just pick it up and drag and drop it.
Oh, okay, all right, gotcha.
Perfect.
Cool.
All right, guys. I'm gonna go back to my slide deck. Right now, I want us to insert a button. And remember, I said a button was basically a fancy link that's in the shape of a button at the top. A lot of us have a page on our school website already, or maybe we want to link our school website to our personal site. And that's what I would like for us to do. So get a link to your school eChalk site. We're going to copy that URL.
Where are we copying it to, Laura? Like underneath our pictures? Underneath.
I'm going to do mine directly below my title, my banner.
Okay.
So we're going to go to Insert, select Button. Name it appropriately.
Do you do insert button first?
Yes, select Insert, Button,
Insert button, okay.
and we're going to paste that link we just copied. And insert. And we're able to drag and adjust the size of our button. If we had more than one button displayed, it will automatically tile the buttons in a nice linear fashion for us. Now, our button, I want to play with some of the color and some of the options we have over on the left-hand side, our menu here. Just like any other box, we get the crosshair, and that allows us to drag and drop the placement of our button. I want my button to go directly below my title, so I'm going to find the blue bar below my title, let go. It will place the button for me. And hovering on the left-hand side, we have an art palette. Please select the art palette. By default, we have 3 choices. Those 3 color choices are based on what we selected in themes. If we change the color palette to reflect a color that we liked better, all of that was done in themes. But this is where we use it in the art palette. I'm going to select emphasis 2 for right now, and we can see it changed the color of our button. Let's duplicate our button by going just below the art palette. And this time, let's go to the section background and go to image. Upload is from your device. Let's select image. Just like our banner, we have a stock gallery. If we knew the URL, we could search. We can search Google, and again, they're the images that are free to reuse. We can search our albums if we use that feature, or we can search Drive. And when we search Drive, remember the sharing permissions matter. That's why we created that folder where everyone could view on the web, because if we choose something to embed on our site, we need to make sure that everyone can view what we're sharing. I'm going to go back to gallery and I'm going to choose a stock photo. And again, you can see the stars working, adjusting for readability. Typically, it makes the image lighter. If you do not like the lighter contrast, click off, and you will get the darker image. Now, if we were to click on our button, because we are in editing mode, clicking on our button does not take us to our website. But if we were to go to the top and click on the preview, the little icon with the laptop and the device, we could see what our website looked like live. And we would,
Sorry.
right beside the redo button at the top, should say preview. And your embedded video will work on preview. Your buttons, your hyperlinks will work in the preview mode. When you're working in the editor portion, you do not have live links. You actually need to go to preview to see what that would look like for students. So we have our button that is a hyperlink. If visitors were to click on our website button, it's going to take them out of our website to a new location. Unlike our YouTube video that we've embedded in our page, they can play and manipulate the playing functions right there from our web page without ever leaving. Now in our text, we have a text box we were working in. Let's just type the name of our website in one of our text boxes. I want to show you guys how to create a hyperlink in our text. If we were creating information and we wanted parents to be able to go out to the Department of Education to see the curriculum framework or to reference a material from another website, we not necessarily want that information embedded directly into our website, but we want them to have access to that information. We would do a hyperlink. And again, a hyperlink is going to send someone from our site somewhere else. So let's just type the name of our school, since that's the URL we have in our clipboard. Now, once you've typed the name of your school, click somewhere in that text so you have your text box menu. To hyperlink, decide which is the keyword, or some authors will even write click here. I personally like to just highlight the content that I'm referring to, and that would be the hyperlink. So Beazley Elementary, for me, I'm going to go up to insert link. Everybody insert link for me. And this,
Where is that?
in our text box, when you click text box, after you've highlighted your field, right beside bold, italicized, you have your alignment link. There's a little chain link.
Oh, okay.
Select your chain link. The first thing it's going to do is allow you to attach different pages, which is pretty cool. So if your site is building out, and as a classroom teacher, you have a language arts page, you have a math page, you have a science, or if you're upper, you have course 1, course 2. However you've organized your pages, you can link your pages directly from your buttons to your hyperlinks, and that's the first thing it's going to give you, a list of your pages. Since we only have our home page right now, let's paste our link. And we can see that our text is now underlined, and that lets us know that it's a hyperlink. And if we wanted to see what that hyperlink looked like as a consumer of our site, we could click on the preview and see that that hyperlink would take us out to our school website. So that's the difference between embedding and hyperlinking. Embedding, your content is on your page. You never have to leave. Hyperlinking, it's going to take you to a secondary source.
You have to hit the apply button here.
Yes, or just hit enter.
Just hit enter. Okay.
All right, guys, any questions so far? We've covered a lot. Our website's a little messy, but we're just getting content in and figuring out how it's going. And when it's messy, all we have to do is get the crosshair, drag and drop. The main thing that I think is tricky is when you first click on the image or the different stacked image text title. Initially, it'll highlight the entire content area. You need to make sure that you've actually selected the correct box before you drag and drop, or else you'll drag and drop the entire section there. The undo button at the top is fantastic, and the redo button is as well. But if you published your site already, the undo is not going to work. So make sure that you undo and redo before you publish. Let's see where we are on our slide deck. All right, we've looked at inserting, we've got our link, we've used the image space. Appears we're moving on to the page menu. All right. Guys, click on the page menu for me, and I'm going to change views, and I'm going to take you back to the slide deck for just a minute. So when you clicked on the page menu, right now the only page we have listed is our home page. But just below the home page, in the bottom of that space, you have your chain link, and then you have the plus and the page to add a new page. Everybody in our clipboard, we still have the URL to our school website, right? Go ahead and click on that link for me, the new link. And let's name this our school's name. And then paste your link and then hit enter or done. That created a link to your school website in the navigation menu on your website. If you do not want that link on your page, you could click on the link and you see 3 little ellipses, and you could delete or duplicate. So you can leave it there or choose to take it off. I just wanted you guys to see that you can link other websites directly to your website, and it would show up on the navigation screen. Before we create a new page, I want you to click on the home page for me. On the home page, we see those 3 little ellipses there. I want you to duplicate your home page for me. It's going to ask you to rename.
I'm sorry, what are we renaming? The hyperlink that we just put?
No, we're going to rename our home page. We're going to duplicate our home page. So when you clicked on the ellipses, it gave you the choice to duplicate the page.
Yep.
And we don't want to name it copy of home page, so we're going to rename it. And I normally just hit enter instead of done.
What are we naming it?
Whatever you'd like to. We're just playing. You can delete it after we finish. Name it whatever you'd like. I named mine page 2. Okay. If I was in the classroom, I would name it language arts. I would name it math. If I was a PE teacher, I've seen a lot of PE teachers, maybe a particular part of the body we were exercising, or it would be my content areas, information that was housed on my website would be the title of my pages. Some teachers do an about me page. So we've created or duplicated our home page. Why would we want to duplicate a page? Because a lot of times the content or the layout is the same and we want not to go back and rebuild everything. So once we duplicate a page, we can go back and edit the page we've duplicated, and we already have the layout. We already have the information we want, and we can just change the information, and we're not starting and rebuilding and inserting from scratch. So duplicate allows you to already have the format, and you can duplicate the page as many times as you'd like. Now, instead of at the top of our site, we have home and then the page we've just created. Subpages are great, so you don't have this running record of pages at the top. Instead, you want to click on a specific title and you'll have a drop-down menu. Drop-down menus are created by subpages. Let's take our mouse and hover over the page we've just created, click it, and put it directly on top of our home page. And guys, what did that create? Subpage?
Yep.
Perfect. So our subpages prevent that running record across the top of our site. You'll have a drop-down menu.
Can you repeat how you did that?
Sure. Take your mouse. I am
Okay.
sharing my screen, aren't I?
Yeah, I'm in the wrong place.
Nope, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure you guys weren't looking at my head. Take your mouse and put it on top of the page. Click, and you can drag and drop it anywhere in this pane, actually. If I want a sub-page, I'm going to put it directly on top of the page I want it to fall under. If I do not want it to be a sub-page any longer, I can click and drag it to a new location. If I didn't like the order of the pages, I could change how they're displayed by dragging and dropping them in that frame. Any questions on creating a page, duplicating a page? To add a fresh page that's going to be blank, that plus sign at the bottom, new page, click on new page for me. I'm going to name this page 3, name yours respectively, whatever fits your site best. So this is a brand new page from scratch. You're going to see that our banner is repeated automatically throughout. Our text theme, font style is the same throughout. That creates that unity and attractiveness. And we can drag and drop our pages to rename them. If we click on our menu, oh, wait a minute, that's not. Actually, to rename our pages, guys, double click on the page name and it's going to open up the text box that allows you to edit. So if you want to rename the page that you've created, just double click on the text and it will change into an editable field. If that's a word, I think I just made that up. You can change the text there. And within sites, it's not difficult. It's just different. So if you've not touched it, go back in time to when you created your first PowerPoint and you thought, how cumbersome. But now you guys can throw together PowerPoints and documents with ease. You don't even think about the process because you're familiar with the tools and just the functions and how to. So it's only cumbersome because it's new. You have the undo, you have the redo, and you have the ability to play without anybody seeing what you're doing. We haven't published our site's not live. So everything that we're doing is basically in a sandbox. It's a safe place. Even after you publish your site, you can go in and make changes and no one can see your changes until you decide to publish again. So don't feel like, oh no, I'm not ready. Sites are always a work in progress. You're always adding new content and changing it. So don't be fearful. Let's see, where are we? We have added our new pages, sub-pages. We've talked about dragging and dropping. We've duplicated pages. We added a link to our new website. We're just moving right on along. All right, last or close to the last stop on our tour is the settings and publishing our site. So at the top of our ribbon, we talked about the undo, the redo, the preview. We talked about collaborating earlier with our folder. That little person and plus sign allows us to add collaborators. So if I was working in a couple of accounts, I would want to share my site with myself across accounts. If I was working on a grade level site and I wanted all of the participants in my grade level or my content area to be able to work and contribute, I could add them to my site as editors by using their email there. And even students with their Google accounts have the ability to create a site. When we do problem-based assessments and we need that computational artifact for students to show mastery, if they were able to put together a site to show what they knew about a subject area or to hold their content and work collaboratively, that's a great product for a student to be able to publish and have a site. And with our features, they can publish to where the site is only viewable to folks in Prince George County, so it's not a live on the website. So even though right now we're doing sites as teachers as a way to get information out to our parents and students, think ahead and how next year, or even right now, students could use this platform to show what they know. So this could be an assessment for students to be able to create the site and show that content. All right, with that, let's look at settings. That's the cogwheel right beside collaborators. Click on the cogwheel for me.
Oh, yeah.
First thing's going to happen is a pop-up menu. Navigation is the first item on our list. We can see that we can select the mode. If you drop down where it says top, you have the option to display your pages either across the top of your website or at the side, and you'll have the little icon that will allow you to click on and see the pages and sub-pages. Select whether you want your navigation to be displayed at the top or the side of your website. And just below the placement, you have the ability to change how your pages in the navigation scheme are displayed. If it's transparent, you're going to see the banner behind it, or you can change for a white or black background. So change the appearance of your navigation bar. And just below navigation, we have brand images. If you have an image that you would like to be displayed in that top left-hand corner beside your page title, you can upload or select from Drive. If you have a school mascot or a school logo or icon that you wanted to display on your site, you would do so by uploading and selecting there. A favicon is an image that's going to display if someone does a shortcut on a device, such as a phone or tablet, and they send your site to the home page of their device, the image displayed on that device would be the favicon. And that's a whole coffee break I could do on favicons, because usually there's some type of formatting that needs to be done through a second party. So you can do that to personalize your site a little more. The viewer tools and analytics, I'm not really going to get into. You can take the time to explore those two areas if you'd like. I have never found a need to really go into them. It doesn't matter to me how many times somebody's viewed my site or that type of information. I do have on almost every slide in highlight a hyperlink that will take you to the Google Help Center for additional information on everything we've talked about and everything on the slide. So if you find you want a little bit more help, go to the slide deck and click on those links. But I've never found a need to go there. All right, so we've changed where our navigation bar is located, how it appears. If you're not ready to share your site out with me, that's okay. But this is how we would share our site. So we've closed our settings. We're looking back at our site. We have a big blue button that says Publish. Let's click Publish. And I'm not going to take you to share it out with everybody, so everybody click Publish. It's okay. By default, our site is visible to everyone in the county. But when we go live with our site and we want to share with parents and students, we would want to change and
manage.
Yes, who can view my site under Manage. And that's going to take you to the pop-up window. And just like we did with our folder, we selected the icon with the world where anyone on the web can view. We would select that option. And select Done. Now, I'm going to stop here for those of us who have not went far enough to where we're ready to publish our site. When we've selected Done, it's going to say Publish Your Site, and we have a window that says Web Address. Just below that window, that gives you the prefix to anything else that you're going to type here in this box. By default, everyone in the county will have the beginning sites, yada, yada, at PGS, yada, slash. After that slash is where we're able to personalize the name of our site. So if we wanted to put our last name there, our initial and a course number, but this would be the URL web address. And we could add that bit of information to personalize our URL. Once we typed in that information, we would hit Publish. And once we hit Publish, our site is live and visible to anyone on the web. I'm not going to ask you to hit Publish because you're probably still working in your sandbox and you want to do a few things before it goes live. So let's cancel out and back out of that.
What if you hit it by mistake?
If you hit it by mistake, let's see. All right, so if you want to unpublish your site, I just opened up one of my published sites. Beside Publish, you have a drop-down menu. Click on that drop-down menu, and at the very bottom it says Unpublish. So if you accidentally published your site, you can unpublish it. I'm feeling like we've gotten to the point to where we're comfortable with manipulating, adding content. Probably the most important thing is for us to practice using the insert tools, to practice dragging and dropping the content, just using the format in the platform and becoming familiar with it. It's not difficult, it's just something new. After every change that you make on your live site, once you've published your site, you will need to click the Publish button after each edit. Otherwise, it sits in the editor view, and you'll think that everybody's seeing your edits because you can see them, but they do not go live until you click Publish. Publish is like update. Every time you make changes to your website, click Publish to update the changes live.
Where's an easy place to get the URL so you can like send it out on Remind?
Absolutely. So if you have not published your site, let's go back up to that toolbar at the top. We have Undo, Redo, Preview, and do you see the link?
Yep, that's it.
That's the link you're going to click on to send out to parents.
All right. Thank you.
Perfect, Michael. No worries. Good question. Any other questions?
Yes, Laura, I was a little confused. You said that you can edit or change the URL to personalize it? You said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How do you do that again?
All right. So, Matt, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I'm watching your screen right now.
When I'm ready to publish my site,
Mm-hmm.
I would go to Manage, make sure that everyone in the world can view. Change. Anyone in the world can view. By default, it's going to be PGS, but we want anyone to view. Save. Done. And right here for web address, it's going to give us the option to add our name or the name of our site. So where it says web address, I would add the additional content. For me, let me say I'm Beazley ITRT. So maybe I want the rest of my website to read Beazley ITRT. And you can see when I typed it here, it personalized the URL.
Okay.
So anything that I typed in that box by default will just go at the end of the URL.
I see. Okay.
And when I'm ready, I would hit publish. And that would make my site live to view for anyone on the web.
Okay. Terrific. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And there is a way to unpublish if you did it by accident. Beside publish, the drop-down menu, the bottom, unpublish.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Let's see. Let me stop sharing that and let's go back to our presentation. Go back to our main agenda. Make sure we hit everything. We talked about our publicly shared folder. Do you guys understand how to get your items off your device into that folder?
You can insert directly from your drive, right?
Yes, you can upload directly from Drive, or you can just open your files at the bottom of your screen and drag and drop content directly into that folder. Dragging and dropping pretty much maneuvers and manipulates most any content. We've been able to edit, find our new site in our Drive. We know how to sort and search Drive. We've talked about the insert, the different themes. We talked about inserting text boxes, images, changing backgrounds, embedding YouTube videos, and inserting images from Drive. Talked about embedding and hyperlinking. We know how to publish and share our site. Guys, I feel like we've covered everything here. Do we have any final questions? Anything I can help you with before we end our session?
Mine's silly, but is it the theme the reason that I can't change the color of my inserted buttons?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Michael, if you go back to themes, let me...
Will it change the theme of the whole page, or will it just change?
It'll change the theme for the entire site.
Okay.
Your theme is, yes, sir, it is site-wide.
Are we able to have a copy? Do I have access to your slide instructions?
Yes, in the calendar invite that I sent you guys, I had a link to the presentation, and I also attached a copy of the presentation. And on the PD in your PJ's website, I'm going to have a copy of the slide deck as well as a recording of our presentation.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. You're welcome. And guys, let me tell you a little bit about attendance before you go, because we will get recertification points.
Oh, great.
Absolutely. And I hope I did change the time. I knew it would take about an hour and a half, so I apologize for being a little bit lengthy, but to get all of that content, I knew it would take longer than just our hour. And because you guys are working on your site outside of the PD time, I'm going to make sure that you get credit for that as well. On the very last slide deck, or the very last slide of the deck, I have a link to the PD in your PJ's website. And just below that, I have a link to the attendance form. And in the attendance form, don't complete it yet unless your site is published, because for documentation, I am requesting a copy of your URL so I can see your site. All right, guys, I feel like we've got a lot of information covered. It was a lot, and the recording will go up on the PD in your PJ site along with the copy of the slide deck. If you have any issues or questions as you get into creating your site, just shoot me an email. I'll be so happy to try to help you any way that I can. If there's no questions, I'm going to say we're done today. That was a lot of work. Great job, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. You rock.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Y'all have a great day. If you need me, shoot me an email.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.